Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording in progress.
So loud.
Hearing aids will be distributed at the door.
I know, I can smell everywhere.
All right, so everybody come now. Lisa will not be joining us this evening. Okay, are there any additions or deletions on the agenda?
None?
Always, as usual, the meeting is being broadcast or being recorded by Jack's Future Broadcast. We also have a Zoom connection to facilitate public comment and people listening at the time. Instructions for accessing Zoom meeting on the website. Can't always guarantee quality or stability of that Zoom connection. Yes.
Can you move your mic a little bit closer to you?
Is that better? The next item on the agenda is public comment for policy BEDH. Is there any public comment tonight? Whether in the room or via Zoom?
No hand raised.
And no one standing up. Public comment period is closed. Correspondence. Is there any correspondence? Do I have it in the folder?
Yes, there were two letters from two parents, two LMS parents, about the incident on Monday and last Monday, and I don't know who that is. Is it mine? I'm not touching it.
Someone's foot might be kicking over the table.
There's no cord I need. I'm sitting very still. And then there was a response from the superintendent that was also in the correspondence folder.
Thank you. And anything in that folder, of course, is available to the board as well as to the public. Proceed with the consent agenda. Will you please have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 25th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 25th, 2023 meeting.
Second that.
Motion by MJ, seconded by Stephen. Are there any corrections?
Yes.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Under for correspondence, it says policy FFR, that should be KFR. And then I believe that because we had, two of us were on Zoom and we took roll call votes, I think that those have to be documented as such by the names, if I'm not mistaken.
They were all unanimous, though.
And I'm not sure how we can do that after the fact.
Right.
But as Stephen said, it looks like all the votes were unanimous.
Right, but I do think it has to be documented who voted what. So can you just double check that that's, I think that that's the purpose of a roll call vote, is to give the names and their vote.
How would you like to do that? Would you like to table approval of the minutes?
I don't know that that's necessary. I don't know, but that's my recollection of what needs to happen.
Can we move to accept them provisionally as long as we're going to add in? If they're all unanimous, they'll be easy to add in because it's just everyone who was there, correct? So it's a pretty easy fix.
Yeah, it's really just mandatory.
Right.
Yep, okay, noted. Anything else? Okay. favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in favor, none opposed, and an abstention. Are there any nominations, renominations, or resignations, retirements? Moving on to our student report.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ava. I'm a student at Lebanon High School, and I'm here to give you guys a student report. Well, this week was a success considering all the unplanned snow days. Council strongly agrees that this should happen after midterms every year for it to be carried out successfully. We also had a bake sale over the weekend during the supposedly double headers, boys and girls hockey game, but girls game got canceled. But we still sold during the boys game and sold about $370 worth of baked goods, which we're going to be donating to the American Cancer Society. Our upcoming projects are to plan out Springfest and start thinking about the next school year's election process. That's it. Thank you.
Rob?
I asked you before, but for everybody, how did the candidate forum at this high school and the tour go yesterday?
I think it was quite successful. They gave me about 25 minutes to let Mr. Campbell tour the school, and then we had a lunch with various different amount of students where he got to interact with them, and then the students got to ask him questions, which he answered pretty efficiently, and I think it was a really good step for us to do because then the students were able to, really understand what the superintendent does and just be involved in that process. So it's good.
Those were some great questions too. Carried it back.
Yes, yeah.
To the council and to that group as well. Will it be the same group tomorrow?
Yes, I believe so.
Same pizza, same.
Yes, yeah.
That's fine.
Same old. Yeah.
Anything else, Robert? Thanks very much.
Great, thank you. Have a good evening.
Moving on to SAU leadership team update. Superintendent report.
Good evening. I'll talk first about the renovation projects. The renovation is moving forward in a timely manner, and meetings continue every 2 weeks. Specifically, masonry work is complete, roofing work is mostly complete. The gravel stop at the roof edge is the only item remaining to be installed. Exterior aluminum windows are installed in the multi-purpose room. Fire sprinkler, electrical, and plumbing and heating roughing continues at the kitchen in preparation for the kitchen equipment. That's expected to be arriving late March, early April. Painting the multi-purpose room will be starting very soon. There's been small demolition in the nurse's office in preparation for major demolition activities that will occur over February break. And at Hanover Street in the high school, bids are out, they've just come in. So the folks at Ekman have begun to look through them. Tim and I will be meeting with them probably on Monday and be able to give some information to Finance and Facilities on Tuesday about that project. I reviewed policies and shared agenda in preparation for our policy committee meeting on Monday, and talked with Aaron about the agenda for our Finance and Facilities. Prepared and presented the 23-24 budget overview for deliberative session. Facilitated COLT as well as SALT. Communication with LMS administrators, police department, city manager. Participated in the city school joint task force meeting. Met with Karen Dubois to discuss the status of BCI work, including the PDA day coming up in March. Participated in board docs training. Met with Miranda Collins, our district social worker, a few times. Participated in parent meeting at the high school. Met with Mr. Ramos about an HR issue. A conversation with Mrs. Roach about a student matter. Scheduled meeting with LSS to discuss information on pay. Attended meeting and provided input to Shay about ESSER grant funding. Participated in monthly principals meetings with Mrs. Roach. We reviewed the upcoming article, which is focused on Lebanon School District World Language Programs. That's going to be in the upcoming Lebanon Times. Communicated with City Manager Mr. Mulholland, LPD Chief Roberts, and Nick Coates from Public Works. You might notice if you're driving down Seminary Hill, on the right, there's now a flashing sign that lets you know if you're speeding, and that happens before the sign that lets you know there's a crosswalk before Seminary Hill, so we partnered together on that. And on a side note, you've met my pup Liam, and we visited Mrs. Allen's 4th grade class, and he's an official reading buddy, and the students are really enjoying him coming into the schools and reading with them.
Question, the Superintendent, MJ.
So I just had a question about that flashing light. Did they, I noticed the position of it moved, because it used to be at the crosswalk and it's back. So was that based on feedback that we gave them or something they decided on their own?
No, I think what happens if you tell the driver too late, there's no time to slow down before you get to the crosswalk. So I think they realized that pulling it up the hill a bit, you see the light, it registers, you slow down, and then there's the crosswalk. I did notice that too. Yeah.
And then I think that was one area of concern, but I think the other area was the crosswalk up a little further at the cross between Whitcomb and I think it's Armstrong across the way. Has there been discussion about that? Because that was the other point of contention, that it's dark and that's a very crowded bus stop for high school and middle school at that time of day.
Could you email me that address, and I'd be happy to follow up and ask them. Thank you.
On the same topic, how long will that speed monitor stay? You know, is that going to be permanent, or have they said anything about
I
that?
think so. I think they purchased it and put it there. I'm not aware of them planning to take it down. And ask that in the same email.
Joanne, on the same note, did you guys in that meeting talk at all about the crosswalk area at LMS here on the main road?
I've spoken to them many times. This is a state highway. There's only
Right,
certain
okay.
things that they can do, and Tim has been copied on all those emails, and their believes that everything that they can do, they have done for this area right here.
There seemed to be some thought that part of the problem at the start of the school year was the rising sun that we had in the clouds, and that problem is temporarily over, and probably come back.
It does, yeah, depending.
Yeah.
Do we still have an LMS staff person helping with the crossing?
As far as I know, they take turns depending on what's happening in the day. When I asked about a month ago, I haven't asked about it recently because I haven't heard anything about it, so I can ask that.
Good. Any other questions for the superintendent? Comments? I am not to introduce too much of the levity here, but I'm interested in reading this. It doesn't actually read.
Be surprised. I am an elementary teacher, but no. No, what the students did was they had already prepared, like, they read together in chapters and they take turns reading. And so they were in their small groups, and they would take turns, and they would come over, and I was kind of outside the circle, and he was inside the circle, and they were just standing there reading, and it was nice because he would just kind of walk up to them, and then we would just like pat him and kind of smile and laugh, and then continue on with their reading. And it was just a nice little break for them. I think it's not something that we would do every day. We're going to just stop in. That 4th grade class is particularly wonderful as a group, and it was a great start for him to go into the classroom setting. And then when they saw me a few days later without Liam, there wasn't the same excitement because it was just, hello, Dr. Roberts, where's Liam? So, yeah, but yeah, it's just something nice. I plan to continue to do post resignations in the state of exception schools.
That he could do an internship with Ryan. Anything else for the superintendent? If not, we'll move on to the business administrator report.
There's a report through January in your packet. As we finally have wound down the budget, now's the time we're going to start digging into just, I want to give you guys the most accurate picture possible as soon as possible. So I was talking to Steve, and so our project for February is we're going to dig into utilities. As we look at the report and you see that there's $4.4 million left, that's in the ballpark where we usually are. But what, if you remember what's happened what usually happens is that, you know, we spend a good deal of that, like more than $2 million of it between now and the end of the year, and that's fine. But I want to get a good, as accurate as picture as soon as possible. So where I'm going with this is like for utilities, we encumber all of our money that's in utilities for electricity and heating oil or propane, all of that now. But the electricity and water and sewer in specific, you can only encumber, because of the checks and balances I have on the accounting system, you can only encumber up to what's budgeted. And in order to spend more than that, I have to move money. So what happened last year with electricity, and is really going to happen this year with electricity, is they need more, my point is they need more money to finish the year. So we've covered all the electricity, and that's reflected here. But I suspect we need probably $100,000 more that I'm going to have to move from another line. So I want to get that tackled in February, at least an accurate picture of the money we have encumbered, when that's going to run out. So I can move more money and get that encumbered to show you a more accurate picture sooner than like, you know, usually by May I'm moving money like crazy to get it paid. But with our electricity rates jumped from 7.5 cents a kilowatt hour to 12.5. We're on a fixed price, but the best I could get was 12.5 cents, and I have it for January, was the first month. So that's, hopefully that makes sense. Our project is really going to be digging into those utility bills that look like we're all encumbered, we're good to go, but we're actually going to be short and get those reflected as an adjusted budget, and you'll start seeing that hopefully with the February report. Some other things I know what I wanted to point out is I was looking at the pair salaries, and we're doing pretty well, I think, but we still have 7 para vacancies that are posted. We started the year, I think, around 15. So when you see a good deal of money left there, we're still trying to hire. I know they're still coming in. We have just one today. I got an email on, or that the high school's hiring. So we're still chugging away. We are, I think Xavier would agree that we're seeing applications for all of our positions across the district picking up a little bit over the last 6 weeks, which is encouraging. We've hired a couple custodians and 3 bus drivers just since the fall. So they don't have CDLs yet, but we're taking the people in training. So if you don't see more buses, big buses running around, it's because they're not legal yet. They can drive little buses, but not big. So that's, and the other thing I wanted to point out is in the school board line, 2310, which is way, I was like, how in the world are we $29,000 over expended? That's about halfway down. That is actually, I've already fixed that after I reviewed this report. That was actually, our liability insurance gets billed to 3 different lines, but if you don't do the PO exactly right and then receive it exactly right, it only slams to 1 line. So the whole $100,000 bill went to the first line. So I did a journal entry and fixed that. So that is actually 76% expended, not 111. And you'll see that again next month too. We're supposed to charge $7,500 to the school board liability, and the bill for the whole district's 110, and the whole 110 went to the school board. So you guys are risky, but not that risky.
Just wait.
Other than that, I'll whatever questions you might have or things I need to research.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, the line for the pairs, that's just the regular education line, or which line is the very bottom? Very bottom, sorry. I was like,
Yeah,
where is that?
I broke the salaries out.
I see
There's
it.
a regular ed and
Sorry.
special. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
So I was just gonna ask, why is athletic transportation so low? Because I thought we were kind of running regular seasons this year.
Well, I was looking at that, and so we're 42% expended, and last year at this time we were 46%. So we're in the ballpark. I just have to make sure again that we're charging everything what we need to be charging. So I don't think that that's too far in a whack, but I have my eye on it.
And the same thing for field trips, because again, I thought we'd kind of resumed a more normal year and people were doing field trips.
Yeah, I mean, we're 7% expended last year. We were 6.9. So I'll get together with Paula and make sure allocating, I don't know if we're not allocating it right, or if we're just not, they're all local. I don't suppose that she's charging a trip to the hood to field trips. That seems, I don't know if we can get that micro with a little small trip. So maybe, I'll check out the field trips we're doing and make sure we're billing in the right spot.
Any further to Jake's question, you know, encumber transportation?
Well, we encumber regular ed transportation wages, the other, and most of the special ed.
Right,
ones.
that's one to be, okay, that's one to the 8%, okay.
It's we have to take part of their wage out for a regular ed bus driver and move it to the athletic trip. And if we don't stay on top of it, it gets all whacked out. So.
You confident we have enough remaining funds for the powers that we want to hire? I mean, I'm just looking at that, what's it, 262,000 for regular ed and 85,500 roughly for special ed.
Let me do some
I
quick.
mean, if we manage to fill the 7 vacancies.
Yeah, at a salary of $30,000, that's $210,000. And there's over $300,000 there, so we're good. But that's for a full year salary too, so we're already halfway through the year. So.
Right, okay. Well, I have one final question. Where do you put legal expenses?
I can break that out for you. I have the breakout, but I don't have it in a sheet. They always go to I think they go to the school board, 2310.
That's what I thought.
But I'll tell you, I can read it off this report.
I'm just wondering if that could be also contributing to the 10%.
I think we're a little higher in the school board than usual because of that and because of the research. But we're not under 11%. Yeah, these are. So we have 3 legal counsel lines in the 2310 category. We have a special ed legal counsel, a negotiations legal counsel, and a district legal counsel. Special ed, we have $10,000 remaining on a budget of 20. For negotiations, we have. See, here's an error. You have to fix that because we have $35,000 remaining, and we use legal this week. We have the whole pot left, so something got built in the wrong spot. It's a good question. And see, in district legal counsel, we have $2,000 left, but of that, so we paid $49,000 in district legal counsel, but obviously a significant piece of that needs to move up to the negotiations legal line. It's the same lawyer, but they're different.
We're probably going to be over no matter what. It's only January.
We budgeted $140,000,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
We budgeted, for all those lines, we budgeted $140, we have $47,000 left. So
Any other questions for Tim? Thanks, Tim.
one more, sorry. I received this week the track donation, so you'll see on the agenda a public hearing for that, to accept that track donation. That was $79,000. And we also got payment for our reimbursement of New Hampshire retirement system contributions. That was a law that was passed a year ago, and the state had to pay back for 1 year only 7% of what was contributed to retirement for certified staff, so just teachers and administrators. And we received that check finally this week, and it's $229,000. So if you remember, we had a discussion about how to treat that, and you'll see that as fund balance at the end of the year, so it'll be offsetting your taxes next fall. $229,000, that's about 13 cents. So anyway, it's good news that we got this for a while. New Hampshire retirement was on.
And that amount has to go back to the taxpayer, is that true?
Unanticipated revenue, correct.
And could you repeat what the track donation was? I didn't really hear it.
Oh, that's $79,630. And we have to have a public hearing to officially accept that. So I asked Lori to put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
On the revenue side, any impact
talk about that next time.
Okay.
I've been watching that and we have.
Thank you, Tim. Is there any unfinished business? I don't see anything on the agenda.
Last time we had, there was a non-public minutes that we were supposed to approve last time that didn't get put into the packet, and they're not on this time, so we just need to get them into the packet so we can approve them at some point. I think they're from November, but they just weren't in the packet, so we just need to add that.
New business is next. I don't see anything listed there. Is there any new business? Okay. We'll move on then to committee updates. Finance and facilities. We'll be meeting soon. Is there anything to report out now?
No.
Policy committee meets next on Monday. We don't have any policies in the packet. And I guess we're looking at the superintendent evaluation, voice on the evaluation policy that we worked on in the last meeting.
And also I think the public comment update.
ADA.
Yeah.
With KFR, that's on our, and KFR and KFRR, right, or whatever. Have those fees been updated? Was that part of what, so finance and facilities has had their first look at it and then we're getting it? Is that what is happening?
Policy EC next meets on Monday.
It's actually at 4:30 p.m. instead of
4:30, not 4:15.
yeah. And we're talking about enrichment, acceleration, and differentiation. No, this was just because Karen's coming from a ski thing with her kids, so it just was a temporary shift. So if they do change, I'll let you know, but that was just for this week.
And I know I'm springing this on you without any preparation, so it's okay to do the topic if you want to, but you mentioned differentiation just in case people.
Don't know what that means.
I'm interested in that. What are you going to be looking at?
So we asked a while ago to talk about what was the district's, because there have been many conversations about this, what was the district's philosophy about enrichment for all or enrichment for kids in the outside of the curriculum, and acceleration for kids, so kids who are going more quickly through a curriculum. And as part of that conversation, then we started talking about differentiation, which for those who don't know means how the curriculum is adapted to meet the needs of every kid in the class. And so what we basically asked was, what is our philosophy? Do we have a philosophy about when we do enrichment, when we do acceleration, how that fits in with differentiation? And so the administrators have worked on a statement, which we've looked at sort of back and forth. And when that statement gets finalized, they'll bring it to you all, and eventually it will end up in handbooks and that sort of thing.
Thank you. P&N Committee, at the time of this writing, there's nothing scheduled, but we are meeting Monday, right, Steve?
Yes, Monday, 5:45.
Student Wellness Advisory Committee next meets in May. Our area for technical center next meets in March, 14th. Area Committee, was that recorded out at the last meeting? I wasn't here. No. The area committee, a while back. Next meeting is February 28th. It was the school district city task force. Did you guys talk about that at the last meeting?
Yeah, no, hadn't happened yet.
It happened the day following.
Oh, so you couldn't.
Right.
Right.
Is there, and I was not able to attend that either. Does anyone there want to talk just briefly about what was discussed, anything we should be aware of?
Well, one of the things that was discussed was the Seminary Hill intersection and the crosswalk. And that seems to have been acted on rather quickly.
Tom left, with the first superintendent interviews, I got feedback from multiple people about what a great job acting is doing. I'm happy with their response to questions, problems, and issues, and things like that. So just I pass that along. Everyone's just very, very happy. Okay. Future agenda items, board member recommendations or questions.
We will have an update, I believe the March meeting from the high school that wants to go on a trip, I think it's to Italy the following year. So, we'll talk a bit about that. Ian and Mike will follow up with NHIAA regarding ice hockey, and that could go through, so they're doing some other kind of work, and ask them to just give the board an update on that as well, so you know where we are with those two things. And then we'll also be doing draft policy, BEDH, and the student bell as well as the board bell, or I think it could be a second reading of the next meeting. And I remind folks that that's the last meeting of this current board, because then the next week, I think, the 14th, is the election. And so whoever the board members go to that following meeting in March. Sometimes we used to do that additional meeting, but we changed that policy several years ago. And so it just announces who was going in naturally the next meeting. So in case there's questions.
Also, for future discussion, I noticed that Quinn just sent out a memo a little while before the meeting, and I'm sure that everyone has not had an opportunity to look at that yet. So I think that would certainly be a subject for discussion at the next meeting. We could do that during the superintendent report, or as a separate agenda item, whatever the board desires. Probably not a good idea to read through analysis. Not everyone's.
Dick, and I also, last time I had asked about what our emergency action plan is pertaining specifically to athletics. And so just didn't want to lose.
The update, he just left. So, he has all that information, but we'd be happy to add it to the next one as well.
Okay.
That's not the same as the policy.
No, it's more like, where are our AEDs? What do we require coaches to do? Blah, 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 blah.
Okay. Yeah, seems to be pretty important.
So,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
so,
go ahead.
so Dick, the memo that we just got, just because people don't know what you're talking about. So the memos regarding,
This is a memo regarding okay, it was a memo for the board's use. The middle school issue this past week. Okay. Important dates and announcements. Final period school board vacancies. Tuesday, February 31st through Tuesday, February 14th. I noticed the city clerk has some candidates listed for our board positions. So please, I would urge not only us, but also anyone who's listening in and watching the recording at a later date, the inclination to help shape the future of Lebanon schools and be an important factor in establishing policy and financial oversight. We would love if people to put their name in for election. You don't need to be a parent. Anyone who lives in the city who's a registered voter is eligible to join the board. So invite you to think about it. And anyone who is thinking along those lines, talk to me or any other board member about what the experience is like. And you share it. I can tell you it's enriching. Urge
indoor track team is going to be running on Sunday in the state meet at Lebanon. So shout out to the track team.
Not shout out to the timing at 4:30 in the afternoon, so it starts at 6:30.
Right.
No, they changed it from 3:30 to 4:30.
My son better run fast, is what I was
What's that?
told. My son better run fast.
I know my son as well.
It's gonna conflict with.
Oh, that's right. That's why it's a problem.
They're gonna run real fast.
Something else that could have been brought up earlier, either under new business or under the finance and facility report. Tim mentioned we were going to be getting the funds that were raised by the track fundraising committees. One of the incentives for people to make leadership gifts for certain naming opportunities, be able to name a lane for track, or jump areas, or a number of people and businesses and foundations who took advantage of that. And so let's not forget, the plan, I believe, is to formally dedicate that facility at the first outdoor week in the spring, there or some outdoor week in the spring. So we could finance facilities or perhaps our facilities even in conjunction with that, and actually look at what sort of permanent marker can be intended to show who the various parts of the, or what the various parts of the track are being.
And I think that schedule is out already, and there's only 2 home meets, so you might want to check.
Ken said there was some fairly weak meeting. I can't recall what it was or when it was.
Yeah.
But, I just don't want that to fall through the cracks. Superintendent search update, the board is about as current as anyone else with the information of anyone watching right now. As you know, we identified 2 finalists for the position. The board has interviewed the first of those, the second is going to be interviewed tomorrow. We anticipate reaching a decision hopefully before the end of next week. Any other business? Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? So Mary, we have a hand up first. Motion by Stephen, second by Mary, all in favor. Anybody opposed? Done.
Well done.
Is that a record? 7:09.